Question number 3, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, this question is to the Minister of Immigration and asks, does he stand by his statement, and I quote him, "I want to make it clear that jobs for New Zealanders will always be the #1 priority," end of quotes. If so, why?
Honourable Nikki Kay.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Immigration, yes, because it is true.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
If the answer is yes, because it's true, was he making New Zealand students the #1 priority when government changed the rules so that foreign students could work in New Zealand whilst they studied in New Zealand? If so, how?
Honourable Nikki Kay.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Immigration, the reason that we made those changes is because there is actually clear evidence that both international students contribute significantly to the economy. I'd be happy to get the member specific figures around the contribution that they make, but he may be aware that there was a recent report out that showed that significant contribution.
That's billed us for a start. Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Does he believe it will be harder or easier for New Zealand students to get New Zealand jobs over the holidays when they now have to compete with foreign students applying for the very same jobs in the New Zealand economy?
Honourable Nikki Kay.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Immigration, I think you have to take a number of things into account when you answer that question. The first thing that I'd say, which is repeating before, that there is a significant economic contribution made by those people. So there are jobs that are sometimes created by some of those people coming into the labour market. The second thing that I would say is there are a range of other contributions that international migrants make. If you actually look at the international migrant investor category, for instance, which I think is contributing about 1.9.
Point of order, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
My question is very exact.
Order. I heard the question. What's the point of order?
Well, I'm about to make it.
Yep.
If you'll give me a slight chance to do that.
I will give the member every
chance. The standing orders requires the minister to be to the point and to answer the question. My question was: is it harder or easier?
Order. I've heard enough.
So if you
order. The member asked a question. The minister was addressing that question quite adequately. The member cannot demand an answer to whether it be harder or easier. The member has other supplementaries. If he wants a more incisive answer to his questions, then he better design a more incisive question. Supplementary question, Brendan Horan. Order. I've called Brendan Horan with a supplementary question. We have a point of order. A point of order. No, it is a point of order. So it will be heard in silence.
A clarification with your ruling there. If you'd like to be more incisive, how would you be more incisive than to ask?
The member will resume his seat. The member will resume his seat. He's now challenging a decision I made about the adequacy of the answer, and to use a point of order to do that will lead to disorder. I call Brendan Horan supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. How can the minister be serious about making jobs for New Zealanders the #1 priority when last year his department issued over 145,000 temporary work visas for heartland Kiwi jobs, including nearly 2,000 dairy farm workers and even 507 truck drivers?
Honourable Nikki Kay.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Immigration, I can't confirm the figures that he mentions, but what I can tell him is over the last 5 years there's been about a drop of 20,000 work visas issued. So under our government, I think we are having that balance of both investing in New Zealanders and ensuring that they're at the front of the queue, but you have seen a significant drop in terms of those work visas.
Supplementary question.
Point of order, sir.
Point of order, Brendan Horan.
Sir, I seek leave to table a OIA response to over 145,000 temporary work visas issued in the past year, including 507 truck drivers.
Leave us sought to table this OIA response. Is there any objection to that being tabled? There is. Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters. Sorry, Right Honourable Prime Minister John Key.
Speaker. Speaker, to the Minister.
Order. I apologise to the Prime Minister. The member will not be here for much longer to receive any apologies at all, but I assure him of that. Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you. Mr Speaker, to the Minister, can the Minister tell the House whether it will be easier for a student to get a job over summer if they're working for a company that could be exporting to China, of which there are now $8 billion worth of exports taking place, if they go to a company that might have a 90-day probationary period, if they're part of a business that's enjoying interest rates on a 50-year low, or whether that...
Order. The question is now certainly long enough. With the Minister, please address it.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Immigration, that's an excellent question.
Point of order. I have a point of order from Grant Robertson.
Mr Speaker, there was most of that material was not even close to being within the responsibility of the Minister of Immigration.
Order. I asked the member to look at the primary question. The question then asked about easier to get jobs, etc. That refers back to the... And there was quite a lot of material in it, and when I realised the extent of the material that the Prime Minister was trying to outlay, I brought him to a heel. Now, order! Close to Christmas, I would be reluctant to be asking members to leave the House, but if this disorder continues, I will not hesitate to do so. Now, would the Minister please complete the answer?
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Immigration, as I said before, that's an excellent question, and I can confirm that what the Prime Minister mentioned is only half of the initiatives that we have done under our government to ensure that young people have access to a job, and yes, under our government, more of them will be able to get jobs because of the excellent economic policies that we've implemented.
Order.
Supplementary question.
Right Honourable Winston Peters.
I ask the Minister if the reason for export education is to attract more foreign students paying for their New Zealand education with foreign money from their foreign economy to benefit our export education economy. How does export education work if the foreign student is unable to pay for their education here without first working in our economy? Pretty axiomatic, Biggie, isn't it?
Honourable Nikki Kay.
Mr Speaker, with regard to the first part of the question, what I would say to him is the changes that we recently made around student workers' rights will contribute, and my understanding is the initiatives in New Zealand will contribute $2.6 billion to the international education sector. Yes, it is, because it actually translates to 28,000 jobs. So the point, Mr Peters, is that it's not just about the visas that are issued, it's the jobs that are created by the international education sector. And our estimate is that's 28,000 jobs, that's more jobs for young New Zealanders.
Sorry, is this
a supplementary question?
Supplementary question. Right Honourable Winston
Peters. I ask the
Peters.
Minister, how on earth can an export education policy work or make any sense at all when A, New Zealand students are struggling to find jobs already in this country, and Australia has just shut down this option back in their country for the same students she's allowing to do it in our country?
Honourable Nikki Kay.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Immigration, we set our immigration policies for what is best for New Zealand, and as I said before, the way that it works is the international education sector contributes a significant amount in terms of new jobs, and the 28,000 are what we anticipate as a result of the changes that we've announced. And for instance, in the electorate of Auckland Central, I can tell you there are a number of education institutions that are creating real jobs for students over the summer because of those young people coming to study here.
Question. Order. Question number 4, Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.